Hello Paula, welcome to my home. I'm Mohini and I cannot believe that I have an opportunity to share with you one of the many dishes I have created in my kitchen with the help of Kraft cream cheese. Ever since I was a little girl, I have dreamt of doing a mini cooking show, and I cannot believe that I actually have an opportunity to do that, and it is you that I will be able to do it for. One of my favorite things to do in the kitchen is take the spices that I grew up with, like curry powder and paprika, peppers, and combine it with ingredients and items that are very dear to American homes, like Kraft cream cheese. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Paula Dean and Kraft Foods. So what we are about to make is a cream cheese curry dip, and we are going to serve this dish with toasted croutons. You could actually serve it with plain bagel. You could buy the toasted croutons already, or you could go ahead and quickly stick your sliced croutons in the oven for about 10 minutes and get them nice and crisp. I've already done that. And this dish calls for half an onion finely chopped, 3 tomatoes, 3 medium-sized red tomatoes finely chopped, a tablespoon of curry powder. You can add actually between a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons depending on how much you prefer the taste of curry. I like to use about 2 tablespoons, and about a tablespoon of crushed red peppers. Now, I like it spicy. You don't have to have it quite as spicy, so gauge it with the guest that's coming, and if they like it spicy, you could definitely add a little more than a tablespoon. We're going to do about a teaspoon of salt, a little more to taste if you'd prefer, and half a teaspoon of sugar. The best ingredient in this dish is definitely the Philadelphia cream cheese, because this is what it gives that smooth, melt in your mouth curry flavor, and a creamy, just perfect for a toasted crouton. And then another key ingredient before I forget is the spinach. We're going to do a 10-ounce frozen chopped spinach, thawed and drained. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finely chop our onions and our tomatoes and set it aside. Each time I'm invited to a party and it's my turn to bring an appetizer or a main course, I'm always trying to somehow use my curry powder and create dishes that are more appetizing to any crowd. And one of the best things I've found is cream cheese in a variety of my dishes. Somehow curry just works really, really well with cream cheese. So okay, I have my onions and my tomatoes all nicely chopped up, nice and fine, and we are ready to cook. This is what it looks like. Okay. Come with me to the stove. Here we are. This is always the fun part. We have our pan. I've got medium heat, and we're going to add our half a stick of unsalted butter. Unsalted butter, so the pan, our ingredients don't stick to the bottom of the pan. You're going to melt that butter, and then right to your butter, you're going to go ahead and add your tomatoes and your onions. So we're going to saute this for 5 minutes because we want to be able to get most of this moisture out as it's sauteing in the butter and the tomatoes and the onions. And it's cooking the onion to more of a translucent consistency. And now we're ready to add our tablespoon of curry powder, 1 to 2 tablespoons, depending on your preference, depending on how much flavor of curry you like. I tend to enjoy curry, so I'm going to go ahead and start with 2 tablespoons. To this, now I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of crushed red peppers. Now this is spicy, so you can start with a teaspoon and add to your preference once again. depending on how spicy you like it. Smell that, and it's starting to all blend together, and the tomatoes are getting to a soft, creamy consistency. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our spinach to that. And finally, our teaspoon of salt. And more to taste if you, at the end when you prefer to have a little more salt in yours. And then I always add just a little bit of sugar, and this we're going to do about quarter to a half teaspoon of sugar, just to kind of blend those flavors together. The best ingredient for this dish is yet to come, which is the Philadelphia cream cheese, because that's what really adds it, that creamy, delicious consistency. And Paula, I cannot wait till you try this. Oh, this is gonna be phenomenal. Always is. I just added a pinch more of sugar and just a tad more salt. You have to just kind of taste it as to how tangy and sweet you prefer your appetizer to be. So that's why there's that little variation in the recipe. You'll see between, quarter to half a teaspoon. Blend in your tomatoes and your spinach with your onions. Should be nice and soft, and it'll just all blend into a very smooth, almost paste-like consistency. Then we're going to turn our stove off and let this just cool for about 10 minutes, just so it gets to a nice room temperature. Meanwhile, you've already had your Philadelphia cream cheese at room temperature. If you notice, it gets thicker as it cools, and if you're in a hurry, you could always just stir it a little, zap it in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes. It kind of speeds up the cooling process. So here's the best part now. We're going to go ahead and add our cream cheese, our room temperature cream cheese. Just going to mix that in. Nice and smooth, and just make sure you mix really well. So we're ready, and we're going to go ahead and transfer it into a nice bowl here. Okay. At this point, you can serve this appetizer at room temperature, or you could actually chill it, make it a day ahead and chill it overnight and serve it cooler. Or if you still have time before your guests are arriving or you're taking it somewhere, you can cool it and then transfer it over. So it's really to your preference. I'm gonna go ahead and plate it and then taste it. And so come on over. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop up my little croutons right here and place them on a platter and add my little cream cheese spinach dips right onto my croutons. And you can just stack them high. And I like the crunch. I mentioned earlier the crunch with the cream cheese and the curry, but it's also phenomenal in plain bagel. And you could also toast up tortillas and actually place them on crispy tortilla chips if you prefer that. Just sprinkle a little bit of your crushed red pepper right on top of these. It kind of warns your guests that these have a little bit of bite to it. Truly decadent appetizer. It's the Kraft cream cheese that makes this dish amazing.